Joining us now to go over the transfer portal fun and assess if indeed BYU football is a net positive or have they lost and they're net negative is Blaine Fowler, dual threat analyst on BYU Sports Nation. Blaine, welcome back to the show. How has your experience with the transfer portal been over the past few weeks?
Well, it's kind of the whole transfer portal combined with the NIL thing sure makes it exciting. This time of year, usually we've got nothing to talk about, right?
But you're telling us.
We got a ton to talk about all the time now because of this, and so it sure makes it more interesting. And in the end, I think as far as football is concerned, BYU's in a much better position than most, and I think they're in a positive. I know you guys have asked this question today. Is it a net positive or a net negative? And to me, it's a big-time net positive for BYU right now. And, hey, you know what I'm looking forward to? Like, can you guys see over my shoulder right there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
For every single home game for it to look just like that.
Oh, man.
How about that?
It's going to.
Let's hope in late November against Oklahoma it is. But, yeah, to your point, BYU lost some notable pieces, and there was a time when, sure, it was the exodus, if you will. But then eventually you arrive in the promised land. Clark Barrington, Keenan Peely, Dallin Holker, Campbell Barrington, Gabe Judy Lally, notably among those five. But BYU's added notable Keaton Slovis, Jackson Cravens, Paul Miley, Caleb Etienne, Waylon Apuahu, Isaiah Banya, Eddie Heckard, Ian Fitzgerald, and so on. The quantity of that and the quality have been notable, led by perhaps the best possible transfer portal addition BYU could have had, which is Keaton Slovis.
Yeah, I think that's huge, and that immediately tilts it in the positive for BYU when you get a proven entity like Keaton Slovis, and you needed somebody to come in that could do great things. I think he's going to be really good. Having watched him all through spring ball, I think this offense is a great fit for him, and I believe his teammates have confidence in him. Both of those things are big, so he's going to have a great year. And I also look to, you know, as we're looking at those guys, I like to look at what you lost. Was what you lost a proven commodity, a proven starter, proven commodity, proven contributor, to what's coming in as a proven commodity and contributor? And when I look at these transfers out, I'm like, hey, Clark Barrington, obviously, he may be the biggest loss along with Keenan Peely because they're proven commodities that are big time contributors, and not only contributors but leaders out on the field. So those two to me, Clark and Keenan, are the two biggest losses. You mentioned Campbell Barrington. He was a sometime starter and a rotating player. I think Campbell's going to be really good, so that we can count that as a loss. Gabe Judy Lally was a starter, and he's going to be missed. Logan Fano is a guy that we don't have a picture of right there, but we don't even know what Logan's going to be. So that's an example of what's not a proven commodity. He could be really good. I think he will be. But what's coming in? Keaton Slovis is a proven commodity. Miley and Etienne are P5 starters coming in. Isaiah Bagna and Jackson Cravens are G5 starters from a program that was one of the top defenses in the country last year. They're absolute proven commodities. Eddie Heckard, even though he's coming from Weber State, maybe the best corner on the football team right now and an NFL prospect. He's a huge, huge addition. Aiden Robbins, even though he's coming from UNLV, is a 1,000-yard rusher. The thing that made me feel really good about Aiden was talking to Kelly Papinga, and I said, what do you think of this kid? And he goes, well, let me tell you this. We had a really good defense at Boise State, and our entire game plan was to keep him from going off on us, and he had well over 100 yards, even though we designed the defense to stop him from running the football. That tells me all that I need to know. And I like this new addition of at wide receiver, and I think that when we look at who are proven commodities and who we can be confident are going to be starters and contributors, and I haven't even talked about AJ at linebacker, who I think is going to be a beast on the defensive side of the ball coming down from Utah State, their best defender.
Yeah.
The positives so outweigh the negative proven commodities that have left that I don't even think it's a question. It's not close. BYU came out big. I'd say they're plus when it comes to out versus in the transfer portal.
Oh, triple plus as far as the transfer portal goes. Let's go. Blaine Fowler is on BYU Sports Nation. Blaine, between losing draft picks and then the outgoing pieces that we've specifically mentioned in the transfer portal, considering everybody that has come back into BYU football, Is there a position group that you feel like still needs a little bit of an upgrade to get back to where they were last year? Maybe it's the quarterback room because Keaton has some things to prove, and you just lost a draft pick in Jaron Hall. Is it the offensive line? You lost another left tackle in Blake Freeland. Is it the wide receiver room? Where are you going with the position group that still may need a little uptick to get on par so that BYU can go into the new season feeling pretty good?
I actually feel like I feel really good about the offensive line. You mentioned that because you lose a Blake Freeland and you lost a couple of transfers. That's the position group I was most concerned about that I'm not as concerned anymore. So that's not exactly the answer you were looking for. But that, if you would have asked me before the transfer portal season, I would have said I'm really concerned about the offensive line. I'm not concerned about that anymore. And I'm really not that concerned about quarterback because I think that not only is Slovis there, but I think there's some quality depth at that position as well. The position I still feel like they could add a piece or two is at wide receiver.
Okay.
And I feel like this offense could use a guy, and maybe I could say maybe it's another guy if Kingston can turn into being the kind of 10-4 100-meter guy on the field that he is on the track. I feel like they need a lid lifter, like somebody out there, and I don't care if it's another slot player or a wide receiver, that the defenses have to just say, okay, when this guy's lined up and he starts to accelerate down the middle of the field, we have to get in our back pedal and even turn around and start to run because he's going to stretch us out. And that creates all kinds of room in those intermediate routes and underneath routes when you have somebody that can do that. I'm not sure BYU has that guy. And I think Gunnar and Puka were both guys that could stretch a defense. Not necessarily because they ran 10-4. I swear Puka is faster on the field than he is running.
Yes, man. He's got game speed.
Amen.
Right? He's just faster on the field. Some guys' track speed doesn't translate, and other guys are decent speed, and they get on the field and you go, whoa, guy looks like he's the fastest guy on the field. And we know that Gunnar could, when he was healthy, could stretch a defense. So you lose both of those guys. Who can do that for BYU? That's my big question mark right now. I think they could use some more depth at safety as well. But you asked me my biggest want right now is if they could find, and I know they have a few scholarships available still on the football squad, if they could find some type of downfield speed that could scare defenses at wide receiver, I'd like to see him go get another wide receiver.
At the end of spring ball, A-Rod said we have 5 to 6 receiver scholarships if we want to use them right now. And I was like, what in the world? So we'd think that's down to 4 to 5 with Darius Lasser. Did want to ask you about men's hoops. We've had 3 transfer portal additions at this point. Joe Lenardi, 2 of the last 3 weeks, has said, hey, BYU's kind of 8th out. And we're like, hey, we'd take that right now, be in the hunt. What do you make of the transfer portal additions to BYU men's basketball?
I think BYU's better right now than they were last season because I think they have, with Khalifa, they've got some quality size inside that's going to allow Foose to play at the 4 a lot more often. Foose is a mismatch for a lot of people at the 5, but not in the Big 12. But he will be a mismatch for people at the 4, no matter what level you're playing, right? So it's nice to have a 6'11" guy in there to help. I think Barker is a quality shooter. He shot 47% from the field. Coming from UC Irvine, he's a 6'4" wing, guard that can defend, gives him some toughness out there. And I think that Quiz, and am I saying it right? Is that what they say? Quiz, right?
Quiz, yeah.
Quiz Glover. I like the speed that he brings at that point guard position. He really upped his game shooting the 3 this last season. This is a guy that played in a bunch of games at Florida before going to Samford. And I like the quickness he brings to the point guard position. And I also like his ability to defend on the ball on the perimeter because in the Big 12, there's a lot of speed on that guard line for the teams. The longer you can stay in front of the ball, the better off you are defensively. I think he gives them that. So these 3 transfers I like a lot. I know they're kind of scholarshiped out, and they're going to have some tough discussions because I think they need another big. If they're really going to be good, I think they need another big, whether it's a 4 or a 5, but somebody, I'm talking 6'9" or taller, that they can rotate in that front line because the Big 12 is a big league. A lot of good bigs in that league. So I want a wide receiver still to be found for BYU with top-end speed, and I want another big, if nothing else, at least one more big to add to that. But I think that BYU's better right now than they were last season. I think Trevin Nell coming back is going to help. I think that Jackson Robinson is going to take a huge step forward. I think Dallin Hall is going to take a huge step forward. I think Connor Toulson's going to be in shape now, far enough removed from his mission that he's going to be a quality shooter. So I don't think it's crazy to think that they could be, 6th or 7th in that league. And if they're 6th or 7th in that league, even 8th, you're right on the bubble of the tournament, which would be more than we could ask for next season.
Blaine Fowler delivering his transfer portal wish list today on a Friday to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Let's get Blaine what he wants, shall we? Let's make it happen.
Can you guys go find me a big somewhere in the transfer portal, please?
We're on it. Blaine, great to talk with you. Thanks for the time, man.
All right, guys, thanks.